Oh, so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular up on first, singing out, yeah, through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Enemy territory here. Hello, hello, hello. Tonight, again, that was, as you guys saw, a commemoration of September 11th attacks. This happened 23 years ago, September 11th, 2001. I'm KJ, and this is Pop and Politics. We started the show out with that just to talk about that a little bit. But before we get into it, again, as I always say, join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. I'm all over the place today. Sorry, guys. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. We have T.
Yeah, hi.
And we have Shelly E.
Hi, everybody.
And also joining us tonight for the first time, we have with us YouTuber and Instagrammer Amber Star McTerry. You guys remember we played her video at the beginning of yesterday's show, if you guys saw, where she had an outstanding response to what was going to happen at the debates. How are you doing tonight, Amber?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so let me start off again. As I generally say, this is Pop and Politics. As I always say, join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. If you miss us here on Pop and Politics on YouTube, you can also check us out on Rumble. You can listen to us on Apple Podcast or Spotify under the same name, Pop and Politics. Guys, we are an independent media, and if you want to support what we do, your super chats and donations go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. Any amount is appreciated. We're not just a podcast. We are a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand, especially after yesterday's debate, we're living in urgent times. There's a target on our backs because we value freedom. Yet we must continue to stand. Let's stand together. Subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off.
Let's go.
So, as you guys saw at the top of the show, we were talking about September 11th. That was some footage. Today, we remember the 2,753 deaths, 343 New York Fire Department, 71 in law enforcement, 55 military personnel. Post 9/11 deaths 1,469 airway disease, 1,366 cancers. As we always say, never forget. I just want to do a roundtable with you guys, as we commemorate today. What are your thoughts here, T?
I can't believe it's been 23 years. That's a lifetime for some. I remember even more crazy. I was in college 23 years ago. So I remember getting ready for class. But yeah, here we are. And it's obvious that we are living in a crazy time right now. And just imagining those times back then and where we are now and the difference in between, it's a lot has happened and a lot is going on.
Yeah, Shelley, we commemorated this day on the show last year. What are your thoughts this year?
Well, September 11th is always, I guess, moving to me as it is to many. And like UT, interestingly enough, I was in my graduate program and I was taking a final paper for that semester or the end of the summer semester to class to drop it off that morning. And needless to say, when I remember getting to the campus and it was eerie. I mean, it was almost virtually silent, like nothing, like nothing happened, but something did happen because there was almost virtually no activity. But it's important to me. Again, it shows the tragedy that can happen to our country, but it also shows the strength, the resilience, the patriotism, how we can come together, how we did come together after that and beyond. And I think moments like that are. I would say that they are mandatory to be reflective, that we must reflect upon them, lest we lose our history, lest we lose our purpose.
Yeah. What about you, Amber? I know you're younger than us, but what's your thoughts on this day?
Yeah, like she said, I remember where I was doing. I was in third grade, actually.
Oh my
And,
goodness.
yeah, we had an early release day from school that day, and as soon as it happened, because we had TVs in the classroom, like every TV in the classroom was showing like the plane hitting the building over and over again. I was actually like so scared because I was a kid, so I thought they were going to come down and do something to us next, like
Right.
when I went home, because my aunt, she's like a hairstylist, and it was like a wash day for me that day too. So she was washing my hair for me that day, and I remember like hearing like a loud noise on the TV, and I thought like something was outside, like something was going on. Like it's very traumatizing for somebody that young. And I just think it is like really incredible to see how different the country is now versus back then. Because I hear people talk about like how people were so patriotic after that happened. Like people would clap for firefighters in the street, like when they see them, but now I feel like everybody's so divided. People don't really care for the country. Like if something were to happen like that right now, like their reaction, it would be like so different. I feel like it would be nothing like how it was back then.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us to the debate. I mean, during Tuesday night's ABC News debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump, Harris went for a line we've heard many times before from Democrats, that January 6th was the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. So while this is nothing new, this remark came on the eve of September 11th, which is today, where, where I mentioned terrorist attacks, which killed 2,977 Americans. So later during the debate, when the moderator, David Muir, brought up January 6th, Harris lamented that on that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured and some died. While Officer Brian Sicknick died on January 7th, the medical examiner revealed that his death was due to natural causes after 2 strokes. So again, this was another falsity that she pushed. But of course, neither moderators corrected her. Take a look at this. This is her in this exchange on clip 5.
Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
So, Shelley, I mean, why would she spew such a lie? And do you believe Americans understand the gravity of this lie?
She can spew such a lie because just like we saw in the debate, the media allow her to get away with it. That's number one. I don't think Trump did a good job of following up the pushback to her for that. I don't think he did a good job in general. However, if the media is allowing it, like you mentioned, there were almost 3,000 Americans killed, murdered, actually, in one fell swoop. On January the 6th, the only person who died on January the 6th was Ashley Babbitt, that was killed by the officer. I forget his name. So no way, shape, or form was Ashley Babbitt's death a tragedy. Absolutely. But on September the 11th, a whole country was literally attacked by terrorists who use airplanes like bombs and missiles. These, whatever you want to call them, these radical terrorists. So for her to say that, and she, don't get me wrong, she says that, but she also said it on purpose. On the eve of September the 11th, like you said, that was intentional. That was another gut punch to all the family members who are still living, who saw their loved ones literally incinerate to death.
Yeah, T. I mean, should people be offended by her continue lie on this?
Definitely. Like our guest said, if something like that were to happen today, we probably wouldn't have the strength to come together to take care of it, because we have leaders in the White House who are not patriotic, and that trickles down to their followers. And we just don't have that patriotism that we need in order to move past something tragic.
Yeah, Amber, I mean, you saw on the debate last night, again, she's continuing to peddle this narrative that January 6th riots were, like she mentioned, the worst attack since the Civil War. And we've had several. We have September 11th. I mean, how do you think people are responding to this and receiving it?
Unfortunately, I think a lot of people are listening to her. Where half, I don't want to say everybody, but there's a good number of people who are listening to her and believing her. And now she comparing people like me and you and her to terrorists. Like that is very dangerous rhetoric to be speaking. Like this is the same rhetoric that breaks families apart, ends friendships and things like that. Like they had a whole summer, like the 2020 riots, like everybody, they were literally destroying the common person, like the common citizen businesses, their homes and things like that. And she wants to get up there and say January 6th is the worst thing that's happened. That doesn't make any sense. Those are regular citizens like me and you who had concerns about what was going on in the country, and you basically calling the people terrorists.
Yeah,
I think that's just very dangerous, and that's why a lot of people are unpatriotic in this country, because of the rhetoric people like Kamala is spewing.
Yeah. I had another thought real quick about this. It's interesting. One other reason she gets away with is that she specifically uses the word attack on democracy. So they don't just say since the Civil War, it was an attack on the democracy. To them, January 6th was an attack on their version of democracy. And they compare it to the Civil War, which I thought was kind of interesting, because the Civil War was about freeing the slaves, right? Getting rid of slavery. How does January the 6th compare with releasing slaves slaves to be free? I don't understand that. So they usurp and they hijack that meaning, that context, the significance of the Civil War. The Civil War was freeing people from the slavery of the Democratic Party. Okay, the same Democratic Party today that Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and others do their bidding for, to keep black people in chains. I don't understand, like Amber said, there are millions of people who will buy that rhetoric.
Yeah.
I want to even think about it that deeply, though, because a lot of things go over people's heads. So they probably didn't try to match it. Oh, they just believe what she says without thinking about it.
Yeah, the Democrats use these like words. They use these emotional events and these emotional words, and people will like throw everything. It's like common sense goes out the window. You say attack on democracy, like, oh my gosh, he wants to be a dictator. When Kamala, you're running for president, no one even voted for you. Like you're attacking democracy right now. Like that debate was attack on democracy.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the debate, let's move on to that. So the last night's debate was an egregious show of how the media is in an incestuous marriage with Kamala Harris's campaign and the Democrat Party. It was gross and it was shameful. Kamala Harris made a number of misleading or false claims during the debate But of course, the ABC News moderators did not fact check her statements in real time. David Muir and Lindsay Davis faced criticism for pressing President Trump on incorrect statements while and actually they pressed him on correct statements too, while permitting his opponent to make several of her own during the 2-hour debate that moderated in Philly. So will everyday Americans have the political savvy to push past the media censorship of facts and cover for Kamala Harris to kind of pick apart the lies in this debate? What are your thoughts there, Shelley? I mean, is this work? Did you think last night worked for her?
Oh, absolutely it works for her. Absolutely. And to your question about Americans falling for this, absolutely millions of them will. Many people, I'm going to say about 40% or more, vote based on perception and the look of everything. They don't worry about the piles like you just said. They're not thinking about, well, how is this going to affect my budget, my taxes, our communities, our schools. They're not thinking about that. All they know is that Kamala Harris said a bunch of whatever. I bet you not one of them can still say what policy she put forth. What policy did she talk about? What were some of her specifics? No, she had a bunch of what we call it, word salads or whatever. Yes, she was coherent. You could hear her and understand her. She was poised, but it was all perception or projection or just the way something looks. There was not one single policy question that they even asked her, let alone that she answered.
Yeah. T, so according to the Daily Wire, they pressed Trump 6 times for follow-ups and pressed Kamala 0. She lied throughout the debate like an overage hooker at the end of her night. Former President Donald Trump questioned the logic behind doing a second debate with Vice President Kamala Harris after he claimed she was beaten badly. So that's what Trump said. So do you think he should do another debate?
Based on what I saw last night, I don't think so, because I don't think much can change between now and November 5th as far as their policies and what they believe in. And then, quite frankly, everybody believes the lies anyway. So people are pretty much set on who they want to vote for at this point. And the ones who aren't, they'll know by November. I don't think it matters. I don't think he should, because if they're going to treat him like this, unless it's on Fox, that's the only way.
Right. What about you, Amber? I mean, again, immediately after the debate, Trump was, I believe, in the press room, and he says she was beaten badly this was today. She said she was beaten badly last night, he claimed on Truth Social. Every poll has us winning, in one case 92-8. So why would I do a rematch? Do you think he needs to do a rematch?
I actually do think he should do a rematch, but I don't think he should do it on another liberal network. I think the rematch should be on Fox News. I don't know. I think he could have been more prepared than he was. Like when they asked about like the dog, like the eating dogs and cats and things like that. Like it's not. No one went to the police about it, but there are like regular people on video talking about it. I even posted a 911 call on my page. Someone called the 911 because they saw 4 Haitians taking like geese from the pond. You know, like I feel like he could have been more prepared, because he should have known that going on that liberal network, they would have tried to hit him with, oh, this didn't happen. Like he should have been more like, he should have had more notes prepared for like instances like that when they tried to fact check him, because he should have known.
Well, maybe he didn't think that would be an important thing that people would take away from the whole debate. He said a lot of policies that things he's going to implement, but that's what they want to take away with.
I think he should have what we call a rematch, and I actually have a little bit of angst about using that word rematch, and I'll tell you why. Because when we think of a rematch, we think of somebody winning or losing, whatever the competition may be. Well, that's the part of the problem. These debates should not just be about competition, who's going to win the debate, who's going to lose the debate. It should be about policy and issues. So again, we all, we kind of join into all of that as well, but it should be another debate. It's not about a rematch, which lends to me the idea of people just looking for a good time, 2 people in the ring. I get it. I understand that. It draws out some of those emotions. I get it. I'm not saying, everybody should just should just stop doing that. The point is that these debates are supposed to be substantive. They're supposed to be about issues. They're supposed to be about the American people and how whatever the policies are, how they are going to impact us, good, bad, or indifferent. That's what these debates are about. I do think there should be another debate. Hell, we used to have at least three presidential debates and maybe one or two vice presidential debates. What happened to that? Now everything has gone out the window. People are starting to vote this week, I think.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I kind of agree with T. I mean, now with this election months, we have people who will be starting to vote maybe at the end of this month, certainly by the beginning of October. But I want to go back to the comments that Trump made about the Haitian illegals in Ohio. So when I rewatched the debate back, and just from someone who doesn't follow news, isn't like a political junkie like we are, when you look at him saying, oh, they're eating cats, they're eating dogs, these Haitian illegals are doing this and doing that in Ohio, it does sound crazy. So unless you have actually seen this like we have seen the testimonies of people saying that this is occurring, for him to just shout that out on the debate stage, I can understand how some people who don't know about it were like, what? This guy has lost it. But this is actually taking place. And this is why it's such a catastrophe that the media is so in bed with Kamala Harris, because they're supposed to be doing investigative reporting on this. Take a look at this. This is clip 4.
Everyone is talking about the death of ducks and cats in this town, but I'd like to talk about the death of one very special person, my mother-in-law, Kathy Heaton. On December 1st, I received a phone call that changed my life forever. She was collecting her trash can from her driveway when a car struck and killed her instantly. A task she had done over 2,000 times, spanning 4 decades in Springfield. That morning, though, a Haitian immigrant was allegedly driving recklessly when he struck and killed her. I say allegedly because to this day, there's been no punishment, not even for the expired tags on the vehicle he was driving. Months before she was killed, I began noticing the reckless driving and complete disregard for our driving laws by some members of the Haitian community. It made me angry. But now my anger has turned to fear for the safety of my family and the citizens of Springfield. I'd been to Haiti 14 years ago. My husband and I went, and it was my first time in a third world country. I sobbed when I saw the poverty living there.
Wow. So she's talking about, and a lot of people have been talking about, the violence that they have been doing in this area in Ohio. And again, the eating of the domestic animals. Shelley, what are your thoughts?
I agree with you when he kind of just spurted that out on the debate. It did look crazy. It sounded crazy. And even if this is true or not, I'm not saying it is, because there's some reports that are saying it's not. But I think it's true that these people are eating animals and things like that. That's number one. I think Trump should not have brought that up. I think he should have focused on some of the crimes that the immigrants, whomever they are doing nationally. He should have maybe mentioned Lake and Raleigh, maybe this lady's mother-in-law, other people with real names and faces that the Americans are familiar with. I think that's where he dropped the ball in a sense. You're bringing up this, I'm going to call it sensationalism, right, about these Haitians and their voodoo and paganistic practices. Fine. If it's happening, it's happening. We could call it out and make it true. Say it's true, whatever. But I think that was a lesser point than he should have focused on the actual people who have been killed, harmed, and maimed by illegal immigrants.
Yeah, and just kind of zeroing in on Ohio, I mean, we've seen, I think they said something like 20,000 Haitian illegal migrants have been pushed into Ohio within the past year or so. T, I mean, do you think Ohio, we know, is a red state? Do you think this is something that the Democrats are systemically trying to do, push these illegals in these different states to change the votes?
Why is this even a question? Because this is very strategic. And that's one thing about the Democrats. They are strategic, and we keep calling them out, and they don't care because they keep doing it in our faces. But definitely, I'm surprised they don't have in Iowa as well, right? Don't they? Isn't that a sanctuary city?
I'm not sure. I know Minnesota. They have a lot of immigrants there from Africa, Somalians, and Ethiopians, things like that. Are there.
Yeah. Oh, Colorado is what I'm thinking about. So yeah, they're definitely being strategic with this.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this, Amber, about these stories and the way that Trump portrayed it and communicated it at yesterday's debate?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. They're being strategic with it, and I do agree. Agree with her. She said it should be focused more on policy, like because people are like struggling to, pay their bills and things like that too. But those same people who are struggling to pay their bills, like the Trump derangement syndrome is so bad for them. They're going to hear him talk about those dogs on TV, like, oh my gosh, he's so crazy. Like, what is he doing? You know what I'm saying? That's why I felt like he should have been more prepared for that question. But Democrats are definitely trying to change up the demographics for the votes for sure, especially now when they see all these black people like supporting Trump. Like people say it's not a lot, but I feel like it's more than it was in 2020, and it's like progressing more and more. So they're trying to change the demographics before it gets too late for them, so they can stay in power.
Of course,
I definitely agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah, and another thing that I think could have been conveyed is we saw within the scamdemic during COVID and things like that. The bureaucrats, the elected officials were telling us, don't believe your lying eyes. They spewed so many lies during this pandemic about the vaccine, about the whole origin of this virus. And now here we are again, where you have everyday citizens talking about certain things happening. And once again, we have so-called city managers saying this isn't occurring. There's no there. And we do know reports are showing that the governor sent in the National Guard to Springfield, Ohio today. So, again, they're lying. And we don't even have an investigative news media to investigate and report on this phenomena. We don't even have that. No. And they did the same thing throughout COVID. Biden and the administration villainized people who said, I'm not taking the vaccine. And what did they do? They pushed out lies saying that this was going to stop the spread, saying that this was going, the spread was happening in schools. They closed schools. And we know now all of these things were false. They were false.
No, and that's why I was thinking about this today when I was rewatching the debate and Trump said something about they're getting ready for World War III. And I'm like, or was it Civil War? World War III. And I'm like, once again, maybe we're prophetic because we've been calling out, we've been saying, even from the pandemic till now, with Joe Biden being sick and they're covering up for him. We've been calling all of these things out. And so I hope that Trump wasn't right when he said the next war, but I mean, what else can we lead at this point?
I'm going to keep asking and challenging Americans, when will you have had enough? What is enough for you? What is the line that you're going to draw? Talk about drawing red lines and all of these lines in the sand. What line are you going to draw? What are you willing, or when are you going to be willing to put your children first to make them more important than how somebody looks on a camera, or because, you don't like the orange hair man, orange hair bad, or whatever? When is enough going to be enough? What policies are going to move you to say, you know what, if we don't protect our country, then damn it doesn't matter. Because our children are not going to have a home. We're not going to have a country to stand on. Then when is enough going to be enough?
Well, you guys know we do often correct The View. And so here they are in this clip talking about how they believe that last night's debate has actually changed the minds of conservatives. Take a look. This is clip number 1.
She objectively won the night. Republicans are saying it. Fox News is saying it. Yeah. And as I predicted, he melted down within the first few minutes.
You sure did.
She laid traps for him, and he flopped right into them. Yeah. On the issue he should have been strongest on, border security, he ended up talking about his rallies and how they're actually great and nobody leaves. And I want to say this. If this was a traditional Republican president or traditional presidential cycle, you had Mitt Romney against Kamala Harris, I'd be saying, listen, she should have talked more about why she was for defund the police and isn't now, why she was for Medicare for all and isn't now. But nothing about this is traditional. These are some of the things he said. Yes, migrants are eating animals. He defended the January 6 rioters. He praised Viktor Orban. He wouldn't say that Ukraine should win the war against Russia. Yeah. And the best of all, he was asked if he has a health care plan after being president for 4 years. Yeah. out of office before, and he said, I have concepts of a plan. That's what you say when you have nothing prepared.
He's been trying to fix that for 10 years.
I hope that I think the mask started to slip even with MAGA supporters. If you can't get through a 90-minute debate, how can you get through 4 years of being president?
Well, he can't get through 4 years.
Wow.
The lies.
So, Shelley, I'm going to ask you. You're MAGA. Have you changed your mind about Trump? Are you still voting for Trump after last night's debate?
Hell freaking yes. If I could vote, cheat like the Democrats do 3 times, I would do that. I'm still voting for the felon, whatever you want to call him. That's what I'm voting for. Number one, Alyssa, MAGA voters are not changing their mind after this debate. We can admit that it was not Trump's best. You know, maybe it's one of his worst. We can admit that. But we also can admit, if you will admit, that nothing that Kamala Harris said or put forth, which she didn't, made sense. She rambled. She did not even answer the questions about the tariffs, about the immigration. She didn't answer the question. She obfuscated. I can't even get the word out. I'm so freaking upset. She skirted the whole thing. And all she did, you know, she looked good on camera. Again, she came across poised with her little antics and, you know, her little baiting. Fine. In debate, you can expect people to bait someone. You can. I will admit that. Trump probably will admit that, maybe, that, you know, he wasn't at his best. But, Alyssa, our country is still on the line. The same country that you are praising and wanting to vote for Kamala for, just because she's a woman, just because she has a vagina and 2 breasts, does she still know what a woman is? I mean, you know, Ketanji Brown Jackson, maybe she knows now. But no, we're not changing our minds. I'm voting for the felon, just like Democrats like you to vote for felons. I'm going to vote for this one.
Yeah, T. I mean, have you changed your mind? Are you no longer wearing your MAGA hat?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely wearing my felon. If I would known you'd have brought that, I would put my felon hat on. I'm definitely still supporting and voting for President Trump. Where do they even get these numbers from? What conservatives did she poll or did she ask? Are you going to still vote for?
Well, she's a conservative. I mean, she's a so-called conservative.
You know what I mean? Like, who does she talk to say, oh, we even got conservatives flipping? And they had a nice little laugh, like, concepts of whatever. If I was him, I wouldn't have said anything either, because Kamala always takes away his ideas and his policies. So, of course, keep it to yourself, President Trump.
What about
if you win, then that's when we'll see it.
Yeah. What about you, Amber?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not changing my mind. I live in California. I'm living through Democrat politics right now. I don't care how many times they lie, how many times try to make her look good, how many times they don't fact check her. Like, I'm living through the policies of Democrats right now, and it's not good. Like, nothing they say can make me change my mind. Right? Yeah,
and speaking of fact check, I just want to go through some of the things that Kamala hurled at President Trump that were just egregiously false. She said he left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. So unemployment set at 6.3% when President Biden and Harris took office in January 2021. That was less than a year after the onset of the pandemic. Government mandates forced businesses around the country to close for extended periods of time, causing the economy to shed jobs. The Washington Examiner reports the unemployment rate hit double digits in the spring of 2020 and was falling significantly heading into 2021. Therefore, they had little to do with Trump's agenda. So, in fact, in the 3 years he was in office before the pandemic, Trump managed to bring the employment rate down to 3.5%, which is actually lower than the current rate is under Biden-Harris.
Right now.
Yeah.
Translation, you had more money in your damn pocket. Mm-hmm. That's it. You brought home more money. Things were cheaper. You were able to save a little bit more, maybe even splurge a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So your groceries were cheaper. You know, maybe your child could get a nicer birthday present or whatever. That's the translation, the bottom line. You had more money in your pocket. Everybody knows that, okay? The 1%, it doesn't matter. They always have extra. So it doesn't matter, you know, if they didn't have extra, because they always do. Most of the people under the bottom half half of that curve, if you will, had more money. There were more jobs, right? You could find a job. Now unemployment, there's too many people fighting for the same jobs. The resources are scarce. This is BS. Black people, you know, you had more money. And it wasn't just because of the stimulus, like many black people like you to believe that, and it wasn't because Trump, he's not racist. You know that. You know that because you like Oprah and all these people who lauded him, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton. You love these people. You love these race baiters. And they also loved Trump too. They still do. They just like to pretend they don't because they want to keep you, black people, under their daggone pocket, in their hip, to vote for them.
Yeah, I do want to acknowledge our super chatters before I get you guys to comment on this. We have Kung Fu CJ.
Hi, Kung Fu.
Thank you. Says Trump has agreed to a second debate. Okay, that might be new news. I didn't know that. Yeah. So I pray to God that it is not on any of these other networks. It is on Fox. So
he could have it here. Put the word out.
Yeah. Yes.
I just want to add something about the jobs thing, because remember, not too long ago, they put out a jobs report and they basically lied about 800,000 jobs.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. And I know people in California who've been like trying to find work, and it's been like so hard. Like everybody's been saying something's going on in the market. And then that report came out that they weren't even acknowledging that. And but they miscounted by 25%. Like
almost 1 million jobs.
Yeah,
a million jobs they overcounted.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then they tried to tie him to the Project 2025. I mean, she tried to, Kamala Harris. I mean, she is doing everything she can. He has denied this. He has said that this is not part of his platform. It's not on his website. Heritage Foundation has debunked this as well. Those are the ones, the think tank that came up with it, and they are still trying to tie him to Project 2025.
They're going to keep doing it.
It's not over.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing is the abortion. So, this is that was a huge thing. The abortion. Trump refuses to commit to a second debate with Harris, saying she wants to because she lost. Okay, yeah, that's what I had last too. I didn't know he committed to another debate. So we'll see. But I want to move on to the abortion debate. So the moderators and Kamala Harris totally lied on this. Kamala said there's nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That was a bold-faced lie. We are here in Maryland. Maryland is one of the few states that do allow abortions with no restrictions up to 9 months. And this is according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. It's actually 7 states. So women can seek an abortion at any point in their pregnancies, theoretically, even late into their 3rd trimester, in at least 7 states. DC is one. Minnesota, where her VP is out of, is one.
Of course.
Michigan, Oregon, Alaska, New Mexico, Colorado, here in Maryland, and New Jersey. These places allow for abortion up to the 9th month. So the moderator fact-checked Trump on this as well. It was a lie. It was a lie.
And then did it with an attitude.
Yeah.
There's no state in the middle.
Yeah. That was, first of all, the moderators should not have interjected themselves into the debate. Even if, let's say Trump lied, which he didn't, or if Kamala lied, which she did, but it's not the role of moderators to interject themselves. That is why you have a debate between whomever is debating. Mm-hmm. They are supposed to check and correct each other and put out the points and challenge each other. Not the moderators. This is why ABC, it was disgraceful. And if Trump does agree to a second debate, which I hope he does, I want him to do it right here with in our studio.
Yeah. What did you think about that, Amber, and the way that they tried to fact check him, say he was lying about the abortions? And Kamala Harris never even answered the question about whether or not she agreed with having no restrictions on abortion access.
Yeah, she didn't answer the question because she knows it's true. I just posted another video on my page today of a lady calling a clinic in I actually forgot where it was, but it's on my Instagram.
It's here in Maryland.
Oh, it was Maryland?
Yeah, that was Bethesda, Maryland. She was calling. Yeah,
she said she was like 34 weeks or something.
Right.
Said, you can come in and you can still do it. But I just saw today that the moderator, the female Lindsay, I forgot her last name. she's an AKA, like Kamala. That's her solo.
And so is the what is it? The president of ABC,
Right, her best
friend.
friend.
Yeah,
That's her friend.
Yeah, it was certain. It was definitely. They were all part of.
It was
some
3
type
versus
of,
1.
Yeah, 3
That's
versus
awesome.
1. It was certainly 3 versus 1. And I mean the lies go on, especially with the IVF. You know, she was saying that that there were some states that were banning IVF, or where IVF wasn't allowed. That's not correct. IVF is legal in all 50 states.
Alabama, I think it was Alabama or Arkansas. They had a vote recently. They were trying to limit the number of embryos, and then the vote went, I guess, the wrong direction. So they banned it temporarily, and then I think it was reinstated. Yes, that's what she was talking about.
Right, but it wasn't even banned. In that state, they were saying that the way that they decided that case could have eventually said that IVF would not be allowed, but it was not banned in Alabama. And she continued to push this lie. I mean, this is ridiculous. And this is why, honestly, I don't think he should debate again. I don't.
Yeah,
I think that the media has gone so far left in protecting Kamala that there is not a balanced place Trump could go and have a balanced debate. The woman still has not answered press questions. She still actually hasn't had tough questions from the press. Why would he debate her? Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I would. I do have to acknowledge another super chatter here. Thank you so much. Kung Fu says again, Shelly is correct, and I couldn't say it any better. Get him, girl.
Thank you, Kung Fu.
Yes, about her saying she would still vote for Trump. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
We all would.
Yeah.
That's what they're lying on The View. I don't think if she talked to anyone, it was one person and maybe her cousin or something, because there are no conservatives that are changing their minds.
Yeah. Before you go, Amber, I want to get your response to this last clip. This is another clip from The View with Usher on, and they're asking him his opinion on the debate last night. This is clip 3. Take a look.
Taylor Swift has now endorsed Kamala Harris.
Yes.
And she was I thought, very smart the way she did it. It was like, you do your research and you decide for yourselves. But I, a single cat woman, as she points to, I am voting for Kamala. Do you think, I always say that in this emergency that we're in, I think that the Who's artists should come out and speak for Kamala against Donald Trump, because he is an existential threat to the country. What do you say to that?
You know what? I don't get too deep into politics. I didn't get a chance to watch the debate last night. I obviously have been watching like everybody else. I think voting is an individual choice. And I think that you're right. You have to look at the reality of the country that we are and the country that we want to be, and find the candidate that you feel both are who fits the category of where we want to be. And that's it. And that's what you vote based off of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Amber, you see how she initially came off. She said, I believe all artists need to come out and support Kamala Harris. What are your thoughts on the way that she started that conversation with Usher? Yeah.
It's just The View being The View, like trying to bait him in, trying to get him to say something bad about Trump, like they always want to do. But I think Usher answered that the correct way. Viewers need to get information for themselves and make their own decisions. They're not going to quit trying to like get these celebrities to get on TV and say what you want them to say, to influence. Because you know these celebrities have so much influence over so many people, and you want him to get up there and say something about Trump. Like,
right.
Yes. What if he supports Trump? Like, what if he would have been like, you know what? I actually don't think that Kamala is the best. I would have loved to hear that.
But what about the idea that he, being a man, being a black man, and she did come off like she was telling him how to vote? What are your thoughts there?
I think he answered correctly in the sense that Usher want to still get paid. He doesn't want to offend his audience one way or the other. And if he does support Trump, he certainly doesn't want to offend all the black people that love his music. Yeah. So Usher took the middle ground, if you will, because Usher still wants to go to the bank and cash his checks.
And let me tell you, that was smart of him, but he's also a straight black male, and most of them aren't supporting Kamala anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised if he answered that way, because he does support President Trump.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on these couple topics, Amber. Where can people find you if they want to support what you're doing?
I'm on Instagram at Starring Amber, is right there to the bottom, and my X handle is right there as well. And I'm on YouTube as the Miss Info Show. So you can follow me. I have so many diamonds. I have different names because my ex got banned, so I had to
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
They didn't bring it back?
X or what?
They didn't bring it back?
Twitter.
No, it was Twitter. It was still Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, Elon didn't bring it back when you said it
No,
was back.
I really was hoping he would, but it seemed like he only helped the celebrities. Like,
Oh, well, so we'll definitely keep you in mind over there in California. We're here in Maryland, so we're both from really liberal states.
We're the other left coast.
So I'm the far left, y'all the right left. Okay.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. So we're hanging there. We got to stay right, stay conservative, talk to these liberals, these crazy, nutty leftist liberals all around us, and continue to fight like Trump said.
Well, I have a question. Is there a support circle for conservatives over there in LA or California?
I'm not too familiar with any, honestly. I know it's a lot of people like from LA who went to Sacramento for the for that reparations bill, but that's like.
I got one question for you too, Amber. How many friends have you lost?
Oh my gosh, a lot. When I first posted my Trump picture on my Twitter, I lost like so many people unfollowed me. People who knew me for 10 plus years.
Wow.
Unfollowed me that day. I haven't spoken to a lot of them since, but some of them have tried to sneak back around and come
Of course,
back around,
yes, that's what they do.
Yeah, like some of them try to do that, and I try to try to act like, because like you should listen to me the first time. Like you knew me for 10 years. Why you think I just randomly turned into a white supremacist or something? Like
they don't do it publicly either. They do it in your DMs.
Like roaches.
They'll go in your DMs
roaches
and say,
in the dark.
Remember you said such and such and such
Like you're
5
sitting in
years
public.
ago.
You're sitting in public. Hi Amber. Did you unfollow me on Instagram? Like what do you mean, hi Amber?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's terrible. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll have to have you on again.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
having me. Nice meeting you guys. Thank you.
All right. Yes. So again, guys, we've always talked about our merch. Definitely check us out on our merch store. We offer certain different items for you guys to check out: mugs, T-shirts, on our www.popandpoliticslive.com. Check out our merch store. And thank you so much for your super chats. We certainly appreciate those. Again, that helps us to produce conservative content. We're in liberal Maryland over here. We don't get much help with that kind of stuff. So your super chats go a long way in helping us do that. All right. I want to talk about some additional things as far as the debate last night. One of them is the crime reporting. So Trump was saying how they made the claim actually during the debate that crime rates in the U.S. have risen swiftly. And Trump had initially said that the crime was going up. And the debaters tried to fact check him again and say, oh, no, that's not correct. FBI said this year that violent crime nationwide was down 15%. But there's a catch there. So the data has been collected differently. FBI has been gathering national crime data in 2021, temporarily upended its Uniform Crime Report program. So they're not collecting this data like they have done in the past. Urban areas where crime is more prevalent were left out of the statistics.
That's what he said.
Yeah, he said that. So Los Angeles is actually one of the areas that saw an increase in crime in the first quarter of 2024, but is among the jurisdictions still missing from the report. So we're not getting accurate numbers. So it does feel like crime has increased around us, and the data is not reflecting that because it's incorrect. What are your thoughts there, Shelley?
Well, there are statistics and lies and damn lies, right? So again, this is a lesson for any of us. You can give statistics all you want. And don't get me wrong, data is necessary, right? But it has to be interpreted. And you have to know what goes into X to make X equal X or whatever it equals. So you have to know some of the background. Just spouting off the numbers mean nothing by themselves. And any professor, a good professor, will tell you that. You have to be able to explain and interpret what the data is really saying and how it applies in the situation that you may be using it. So right then and there. But I do know this, even here in Baltimore, we have Oh, I'm sorry. We had some kind of noise. But there are the violent crime, the murders, and the non-fatal shootings have purportedly been reduced over the last year or so. Something about 20 to 30%, give or take, in each one of those categories. But we have questions. Are they actually being reported, the shootings? Are they actually being collected in the data? Are the police even documenting some of these things? So these are just some of the questions, not all. But one big point is that nobody can explain, if all of that reduction is happening in Baltimore, then how come the people in Baltimore don't feel safe?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, we don't feel safe. We're not feeling this low crime. I mean, nobody is feeling
That's why the noise we just heard, that's why we were like, okay, what the hell is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anytime that you have inflation, you're going to have more crimes because people can't afford certain things. So you're going to have high burglary or stealing, thefts, and everything. Because I know a lot of people, especially here in Baltimore, if you have a Kia, your car is easily to get stolen into.
Wow.
Yeah, they call them the Kia boys or whatever. They're stealing all these cars in D.C. So how can they not report the big cities? Because that's where most of the crimes that are Democratic led are happening.
Well, I'll give you one. I'm sorry, do you have something to tell you?
No.
I'll give you one reason why I think they're not reporting them, because many of these crimes, particularly like the car thefts and the muggings, they're happening by juveniles. And if you notice across the country, juveniles have this protection that they don't want to put their names out. They don't want to put their face out. They can't. In Maryland, they just passed a law that police cannot interview a juvenile, someone under 18, unless they have their parent and an attorney present. Not just one or the other. Even if the parent says, yes, Johnny, you better tell the truth, they won't do it. The police are bound from doing it by law now. So this is what our leftists, the other left coast state representatives have passed. So we have all these juveniles committing crimes, stealing cars, banging old people, knocking people down, things like that, and they can't even be questioned, let alone apprehended. They take them to the cycle down there at juvenile hall or whatever you call it, and they basically put them in the rotating door, and they come right back out.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that President Trump called them out when he's like, oh no, they didn't include the big cities, because that's important.
But they tried to they said he was wrong there. I mean, this was one of the worst debates of our lifetime. I mean, not only again was Kamala lying, and she was not fact-checked on one lie, but the moderators were lying too.
That's what made me mad.
And defending her.
Yes, and defending her. Well, at least not pressing her. Right. I mean, it was awful. It was awful.
Poor guy. He's still fighting.
Yeah. And guess what, guys? The biggest thing I haven't heard anybody talk about, they did not take one moment to mention his assassination attempt. 57 days ago, the man was shot in the head, and they never mentioned anything about it.
They didn't mention transgender children being mutilated either. They didn't mention that about, children wanting to be, telling boys they can be girls and vice versa. They didn't mention how the government in many states are now basically making it legal to take your kids because you, as a parent, don't want to approve or advocate that your boy is a girl and your girl is a boy. So they didn't talk about any of that. They didn't mention the law, and I don't know the name of the law, in Minnesota that Tim Walz signed into law that will allow your children to be taken.
No.
They didn't mention all that.
No, and even talking about Minnesota, they didn't mention that actually in Minnesota it is recorded that I believe it was either 5 or 8 babies were actually born alive. They were actually born alive in Minnesota, and they didn't mention it. And there's reporting that shows this fact.
What do you mean born alive?
They were botched abortions. So babies that made it through the abortion were born on the table, and they did not provide them life-saving treatment to prevent them from dying.
Isn't that a lawsuit though? If that were the case,
no, because I guess the parents aren't going to file a lawsuit because they were there to kill him anyway.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's It's evil. It is evil.
It is very.
But you got so-called Christians today all over social media hailing Kamala Harris as a queen. Queen, yes, queen. Yeah, showing AI photos of her in the crown and everything, saying she did a good job last night. So-called Christians. And you have 5 babies in Minnesota that were born alive. They lied. And it's easily you can get this information, and they continue to support her. They continue to support her.
Whenever you ask them, what is it about Trump aside and her being a black woman aside, why would you vote for her? There's no answers.
No.
They don't have answers.
You know what really boils my blood? It's not even the fact that they're not voting for Trump. I get it. I get some people, Trump is not their top cup of tea or whatever. Maybe they say, you know what, I can't vote for a Republican. But the fact that they actually come out and just lovingly and energetically vote for Kamala Harris. The fact that they're posting about her on their social media, they're not staying independent.
Nope.
They're not saying, you know what, I'm going to sit this one out because I don't like either candidate. They are voting for her, running to the polls.
Only because she's a woman or because she's a black woman.
Right. Yeah,
those are the only 2 reasons.
It is sickening. Yeah.
When I think about, and maybe you can answer that as well. When I think about what it is that I look for in a president, a person with a dick. Well, first of all, but a guy that I used to date, he didn't play video games, but the only game he played was a game called Civilization, a video game. And it's basically what it is. Like, you create your own civilization and you make deals with other countries and you provide Medicare and help or whatever and food for your people. So when I think about a leader and president, this is what I look for: someone who can negotiate deals globally. A man, and who can be well respected globally, as well as take care of his citizens. And the way that they're bringing these people in from other countries, they're not taking care of us. And I don't think that she can negotiate a deal at the table with Putin and the other global leaders of the world.
Remember, you got to remember though, the thinking behind those types of things, negotiating deals, leadership, is warped now because we are a single mother nation. So now you have these independent women, feminists are leading society. They're leading the narratives behind this. And they believe women are the better choices to do these types of things. So of course they're going to try to promote Kamala Harris because many of them are leading their households. They're leading the churches. They're doing all this stuff. Yeah, Mala. Yeah.
We don't have this clip, and I saw it on YouTube. You all can find it. There was a clip when Kamala Harris was on The View, and she was talking about, yes, I'm fearful, and it's a big role and things like that. And of course they were lauding her that she was being so transparent. And of course it's scary to be the president. Hell freaking no! I don't want someone, even if it was a man, God forbid, but certainly not a woman to leading us saying that they're afraid. Why would I want that? I mean, if that's the case, we can. One of us can be up there and just say, "Oh, I'm afraid." I want a man who is strong, and even if he is fearful, I don't want to see it, and he shouldn't show it to the nation. Why do you want to laud that? That's not what leaders are supposed to be. Yes, they're human; they have emotions. But if you're leading troops, certainly if you're leading a nation, you don't get on public TV, national TV, and talk about how freeing it is to admit that you're afraid. What?
She's not only is she short. I mean, you guys saw her when she went to shake hands with Trump. I mean, she is a 5'2", 5'3". Well, she's short. She's goofy. She does not, exude confidence. She does not exude leadership style quality. She's a woman. Right. I mean, the woman doesn't have, I don't see how she's at all someone that people would want as a president. I wouldn't even want her to lead me to the women's bathroom.
When I think about her sitting at the table and these global leaders, global leaders, what they're going to ask her?
Can I take you out tonight?
Well, something like that.
Where's your father? Where's your daddy? Because I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to your daddy.
Even with the Saudis and the Iranians, they disrespect women,
Exactly.
right? So how is she going to negotiate anything? They may not even give her the time of day.
No.
So she's
gonna
she's going to send 10 walls. She'll send 10 walls.
Nobody's going to take us seriously. And even today at the 9/11 commencement they had in New York City, and my gosh, you guys should have seen it. If you haven't, check it out on C-SPAN. You know, the 9/11 people were the what do you call them? The people that lost loved ones.
Their loved ones. Yeah, the families.
Yeah, the families were disgusted with Biden-Harris administration, and they actually made it clear. But she was there. Trump was there. J.D. Vance was there. Bloomberg was there, and they were all standing in a line like on the curb. Kamala was there, and she was standing next to Chuck Schumer, and she looked like a little pet. I mean, she looked like a school guidance counselor standing with the head of school, and he's talking to her, and she's like looking he's looking like he's sternly telling her something, and she's looking earnestly like as like she's giving her directions. Yes, it was today. It was muted, so you couldn't hear what they were saying. And then you see on like a couple of feet people down, Trump is standing there, and he's standing strong, and people are looking at him like he's not looking. You know how you see people where you can understand a presence. Right. People are looking at him, and he's waiting, and they're speaking to him, like looking to him for questions and things. And he kneels down to talk to Bloomberg. Bloomberg's very short too, and Bloomberg looks up to him like he commands authority.
Yeah. Right.
And you didn't see that with Kamala. I don't know.
I mean,
he's at least 6
she can't
feet.
help how tall she is. I mean,
Trump is at least 6 feet.
6'1" or 6'2". Okay. She can't help how tall she is. Okay, got it. You can't help that. But this woman is a dense. She's a dense. She's a dunce. I don't like calling people dumb just for the sake of it, but she really is. Yes, she's an attorney. She came off well last night, but she cannot put concepts together. She evades. She lies. She does not even know what her own policies are. Does she even have any?
You know what a liberal actually told me when he watched the debate? He said, you know who she sounds like? She sounds like Obama. Very Obama-ish because the way that she
doesn't look like him.
No, not look like him, but she sounded like him the way that she I guess
communicated.
Yeah, communicated and formed her answers.
And put stuff together.
Whatever answers that she had.
Yeah, she did. She did come off well with that. I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here.
Kung Fu
again. Thank you so much. Says, remember the African countries ignored her. She is no rice. The pit bull of the Bush administration. That's correct. You're right.
She doesn't even come off as someone who is a strong leader.
No, I mean, and the height doesn't help. This is what I'm talking about. She has no presence. Usually if you don't have any presence, just the energy, then you at least have the height to take you to at least people say, okay, well, this person, she don't even have that. Ryan,
like a secretary.
Yeah. Ryan, thank you so much. Says, I am happy I found this channel of like-minded people who are in Maryland.
Yeah,
people here in Maryland are libtards with extreme TDS. Keep up the great work, y'all.
But you know something though, Ryan? We have those people. We also have the people who are conservatives and they do think like us, but they just don't go around saying it because they think that they're by themselves.
Like a lot of the people that live in PG County,
County, Charles County.
They're more conservative. They just don't want people to know it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, like someone told me yesterday, we need to start telling people about our beliefs because we can't stay silent. I mean, I think that's part of the problem and why the left feels like they can do things like have these moderators take control over the debate. The media is totally on the left. We can't, in jobs, they're proud to speak about Kamala Harris, but we all stay silent and don't speak about Trump. They do this, and we need to stop it. We need to put a stop to it. I want to talk next about Tyreek Hill. So I'm not sure if you guys have been following this story. He is a Miami Dolphins player who was pulled over at a traffic stop. So it can't be election season without having the media put up a black man being pulled over and pushing it as an incorrect stop. Take a look at this. This is clip number 7.
Thanks, Joe.
What are you have your seatbelt on? Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Like what? Why you have it up? Sit down. Hey, keep your window down. Hey, keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Give me your ass, mama. Get out of the car. Give me your ass. We'll break that freaking window. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out. 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 What part of violence do you understand? Hey, Drew. Hey, Drew. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting out, bro. God damn, twin. When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand?
I'm getting out.
You understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you. You're a little fucking confused.
I'm getting out, bro.
Too late.
Chill,
Too late.
All right, bro. Take me to jail, bro. Do what you gotta do, bro.
We are. We will.
Good, bro.
It is good.
Hey, Drew. Hey.
Don't worry about it. I hung up the phone. You stop crying.
Why are people so ignorant? Why are people so ignorant? So that was Tyreek Hill. This is recently, he has accepted he should have handled himself differently with police before they violently pinned him to the ground at a traffic stop on Sunday. The Miami Dolphins star was asked today if he thought he could have been more cooperative with cops after the body cam footage of the incident emerged. He said, "I have thought about it. My whole life is all about accountability. How can I get better? I have family members who are cops. We've had conversations. Yes, I will say I could have been better. I could have let down my window in that instant." Ultimately, the authorities cited Hill for reckless driving but didn't arrest him. They also didn't charge him for obstructing an officer, which is a misdemeanor in Florida, punishable by up to a year in prison. Shirley, what are your thoughts on that stop?
So you asked a question about why people are ignorant. I would say I asked that question too, but I think it applies to both of them. I think it applies to Tyreek and the officers. And I'll tell you why. Yes, he admitted it. He could have rolled down his window. He should have rolled down his window. But once they got him out of the car onto the ground, they were, using your words, to me, as ignorant as he was or had been. I don't think there was any reason. I don't know if you had a later clip, but there was also, when he was sitting there handcuffed, one of the officers came and basically jumped him. He was already handcuffed. He was already sitting there. There was no reason for him to do that. So I think if ignorance is one of the criteria, then I think it applies to both.
Oh, see, I didn't see that. So
Yes.
what do you mean jumped him?
He was handcuffed, already sitting. They had him sitting on the curb.
No, he was standing up.
Well, he was standing up on the curb, and then one of the other officers came and kind of wrestled, jumped him or whatever.
Just for no reason?
No, they told him to sit down, but he was saying, "I just had knee surgery. I can't sit down." And the officer, while he's saying that, the officer came and knee arm wrestled him down to the ground.
And wrestled him down to the ground. There was no knee. He was already handcuffed at that point.
I mean, I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings, almost like Shelley. Before I just saw that part where they were telling him to roll the window down, and I can see why, because in Florida you can have tent as dark as these poles around here, this table, so they want to see what's going on, so that's why they ask. But that excessive force was very unnecessary. They didn't have to do that, and they knew. I mean, look what he's driving. They knew that he was somebody. They had to know.
Somebody can still shoot you.
That's why I say he should have rolled the window down.
Yeah, he should have rolled the window down. But the excessive force was unnecessary, as well as when his teammates tried to stop and help him, they almost arrested them. Well, get in the car.
That is a problem. People, I don't know if people don't understand this, but when the cops are arresting or detaining someone, when any other people come up, even with the best of intentions, yes, the cops can take it as a threat, and mob mentality can take effect. So I do understand them telling them to get back, things like that. I do understand that. But the excessive force, even, the nasty language, we talk, whatever, he was already on the ground. He was not a threat at that point.
When I tell you to do something, you do it. He's not a child, first of all. And this is where the dick swinging contest starts happening, because you got a grown-ass man and you have a cop, just because he's a cop, thinking, I can say and do whatever I want to do to you, when you have a grown-ass man saying, no, you're not going to talk to me any kind of way. You're not going to use excessive force on me any kind of way.
mean, and again, the reason why I kind of push back on it is because, first of all, people need to realize police officers don't know you. They don't know you. You know, people are out here they're just doing their job. You know, when you have stopped someone in a traffic stop, you have to prepare for the worst. And it's just like, why do you have to do that? You know, I'm giving you simple instructions, follow them. So once you have, you know, gotten to a point where now it becomes, you know, I've been trying to be pleasant with you. It could have gone a different way. It didn't. At this point, when he didn't roll down his window, he had to pull him out the car and so on and so forth. All bets are off to me. So it's just like, you know, it's
why?
Yeah, let me tell you why. I hear you I'm with you with the window. He should have followed the instructions. I'm with you with that. Safety, just because it seemed to be a lawful stop. So the cops had every right to say, roll down your windows, get out the car. I'm with you there. But I'll tell you why the second part I'm not with you in that all bets are off. Because they can't be. They're carrying a badge. They are supposed to uphold the law. And even if an American citizen I don't agree with people who do this. They can be vulgar. They can say whatever they want. They still have their First Amendment right to do so. The police are the ones who are charged with maintaining their order as much as the order of the public. They were not under physical threat.
But I thought you said they gave him a command
to get out the car, to roll down the windows.
No. After that, when you said, and again, I didn't see that.
Oh, when they said to sit down.
Right.
He said, I've just had knee surgery.
Yeah,
okay.
So he couldn't sit down.
But he has lost the credibility. He has lost.
Maybe so.
He has lost the, what do you call it? The assumption of...
No, you don't lose the assumption of innocence. No, you don't.
I'm not talking about assumption of innocence.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying he has lost the
credibility, like you were saying,
the kind of where you're trying to be nice to somebody, you give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
Right, the benefit of the doubt. He has lost all that. So now it's adversarial. Now it's adversarial to me.
It's already adversarial, KJ, from the beginning. Because the situation, that's the nature of it. It's just like two lawyers in a courtroom. It's already an adversarial.
Even the way he told him to let down the window, let down the window. They already come with this damn small nuts, big nuts type of thing.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I'm talking about the nature the nature or the roles. The officer stopping someone, regardless whether it's Tyreek or whomever, it's built in that it's adversarial. It has to be. It has to be. That is a natural part of it. You ain't got to believe it or not, but that's a part of that's the nature of the role, if you will, or the profession. And I'm not talking about adversary meaning they got to rough you up. I'm not talking about that. Two lawyers in the courtroom. A courtroom is designed to be adversarial. That's what I'm talking about. It's built in. Right. Again, he should have rolled down the window or rolled down the window, whatever. Personally, and this is totally not even necessarily as far as this, but personally, I think people, if you don't want to ride with a damn seatbelt on, why do you have to? I think that law should never have been passed. People did protest at the time. If you don't want to ride with a seatbelt in a car that you paid for, why did it have to be?
Why they stopped him?
That was reckless driving and no seatbelt.
Oh, reckless driving. Yeah, I was gonna say they couldn't.
I mean, if you don't want to drive with a seatbelt on, that's your damn car. Yeah, I mean, children is something different. But if you're an adult in your car, if you don't want to have a seatbelt on, why does it have to be? Why does it even warrant 5 or 6 police officers?
Well, there's nothing we can do about that now because it is allowed. But just the fact that we're here and, like you said, every election year there has to be something.
That's true.
However, I'm glad that he did take accountability, and even after the game, they had a press conference and he was like, "I can't even tell you what happened. I don't know what happened, but I do want to work with the cops because I want to be a cop." You know,
the last thing I read that he said that cop should be fired.
No, on the press conference he wasn't saying that.
He said the cops got to go
to work with them.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to be a police officer.
I wouldn't either.
These people nobody respects authority anymore. Again, to me, again, as I say, he lost the benefit of the doubt when he didn't do what he was asked. So now the whole exchange, the interaction is muddied. So maybe before if he had said, hey, I hurt my arm, my foot or my leg or whatever, I can't sit down. He would have said, okay, you know what, that's fine, but. He gave him a hard time in the beginning. Why should I believe you that you don't? I'm giving you an order and you're not doing it. I'm going to make you sit down. That's what it was.
Yeah, but it doesn't really have to be that
way.
like
Yeah, it
that?
doesn't.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I mean, I didn't see it. Why was he asking him to sit down then?
Because he wanted him to sit down.
He was already in handcuffs, and then the other officer, it was an officer standing beside him, and then another officer came and basically, I would call it.
So where he was standing.
He was standing, but another officer was standing right there. They were not beefing or mouthing. The other officer just came, or maybe you couldn't hear
So it didn't have anything to do with him thinking he was going to run?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not at that point. Not at that point, no.
Okay. All right. Well, definitely we will continue to follow that story. I mean, no telling what else is going to come up with these police interactions between now and Election Day.
Right.
All right. So we are at the end of our time, guys. Thank you so much for watching, for hanging out with us. We certainly appreciate it. Any final thoughts, ladies? I'll start with you, T.
Final thoughts. Like I said earlier, when I look for a president, there are certain things, and like you said, not having a dick. I mean,
having one
is the first requirement. But we gotta, like Usher said, make sure that we are voting based on our interests for our family. Because the president, that's one thing, but vote locally. That's really where it directly impacts us. So we got to make sure that these county executives, these city councilmen, make sure that we're putting the right people in those places, in those spots.
All right, Shelley, your final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm voting for the felon here. Listen, I'm voting for. Which way? There we go. The camera's back. There we go. I'm voting for the felon. I'm just going to say it, what I've been saying. Stand up, strap up, show up, and speak up.
All right. And I will say, you guys, definitely check us out. We are Poppin' Politics, but we do have another show, a sister show. These are some of our shows that we have. You guys got to subscribe to. So we have Just the Guys show, which will come on tomorrow. Check out that channel, Just the Guys podcast. We have my show, Christian Conservative with KJ. Check that out. And of course, we're Poppin' Politics. So you guys got to check us all out. Go to those channels and subscribe. That way you get up-to-the-date information, and you will hit that notification bell so you know when we post new content. Yeah.
Yeah, one more chat.
We do have one more super chatter. Thank you so much. We have LAPD SWAT says, moral of this 3 story, don't be a sidewalk lawyer. Also, 3 a.m. can she answer the call if missiles are inbound? Yes, absolutely. You're right.
I say nothing about that.
All right. That does it for us tonight. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.